Buffalo Bills going undefeated. And we're going to the Super Bowl. Yep, that's what's up.
This is the Kingpin, and you're listening to the Air Raid Hour, a Buffalo Fanatics video experience.
Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen, to the Air Raid Hour. My name is Steve Mathis. You can find me, as always, on Twitter at Judge Mathis. And I am joined by my co-host, Dave Tilton. You can find him on Twitter at Tilt Money. We got producer Kendall in the background, as always, and we are presented by the Buffalo Fanatics Vidcast, live stream network, whatever you want to call us, the Buffalo Fanatics. You know who we are.
Content if you guys network is what I would say.
Network?
Content network. There you go.
Content network. We got you covered everywhere. I think we even have a TikTok. I wouldn't know because I'm not young and I'm not hip, so I don't have the old TikTok, but I think we have a TikTok. So go check us out on TikTok, I guess.
I don't know what's going on our TikTok, honestly.
Yeah, whatever's going on our TikTok, whatever's going on our OnlyFans, I have no idea because I'm not on there. But hey, if you guys, before we get started today, could do us a huge favor, subscribe, like, and share this video cast. It would be a great help to us. And if you want to become a member of the Bing Squad, head on over to jointhefanatics.com, become a Big Squad member. And as always, we are also brought to you by Symbol. Dave, talk to the people about Symbol.
Symbol, the stock market for sports. Now is the time to get in. People are going crazy for Dogecoin right now. I know that's the hot item, but Symbol's where you can actually use some of that sports knowledge, make some money, invest in the teams you think are going to be good for the long haul. You get win payouts when the team wins, so it's not just about the value in the market, but you also get paid out when that team wins. And now's a good time to kind of get into the market before the draft because values, we talked to Kenneth a couple weeks ago, values are going to fluctuate as the draft starts and especially after the draft is over on some of these teams. So now's the time I'd be looking to get in. Promo code Fanatics, you get a $10 deposit bonus, no deposit minimum. And you can get that by going to symbol.app/fanatics or using the code fanatics at symbol.app. So check it out.
And as always, we appreciate our super chat superstars, and super chats jumped the line. I saw we had Ombre Lob in there. I saw we had Bobby. I saw we had Randy. Who else we got joining us tonight for the Air Raid?
Oh yeah. Ombre Lob is I don't know if he's a Tyler Shelvin burner account or what, but I love that guy's energy, man. So keep it coming. Thomas Burke is in the house. We've got, who else do we have in the house? We've got Bobby, like you said. Wow, Ombre Rob's got a lot of chats here, so I got to scroll down. Randy Hardman, of course, is in the house. Jason Humbert, Roman Bobek. We've got, who else is in here? Brian Adams. I saw Daniel Gowries is in here. Jeff Yin Yang's in here. Izzy from Built in Buffalo is in here. So we've got some good representation in here.
Nice. And I see the comment section is already talking about JOK. JOK is the pipe dream trading up. If JOK starts to slip, and there are some rumors now that like JOK is slipping, he's a tweener, teams are afraid. Some anonymous GM who was probably blowing smoke out his ass said, I love him as a prospect, don't love him as a first rounder. Don't know what the hell that guy's talking about.
Right.
But it's actually a little bit opposite of where I wanted to go to start the show today, because Randy sent me a DM earlier, and he wanted to talk a little bit about trading back. And he messaged me really about Kellen Mond. So there's a growing contingent of people, a lot of Pro Football Network guys like Benjamin Albright, guys like Pete Prisco. They're starting to think that maybe Kellen Mond is picking up some first round steam. A team might want to get back into the first round, pick up that 5th-year option on Kellen Mond, who's got all of the physical attributes the top quarterbacks do. Played at a pretty relatively large program there at Texas A&M. Played under Jimbo Fisher, who obviously Jameis Winston played under. But on top of Kellen Mond, there's also Kyle Trask, who people have told him he can go anywhere between the 1st and the 4th round. And what if San Francisco takes Justin Fields? And what if Carolina takes Trey Lance? And what if
Mhm.
New England decides they don't want Mac Jones? Maybe Mac Jones is sitting there in the 20s. So there could be quarterbacks in play
Yeah,
in
if
the back
Denver doesn't
half.
take a quarterback, right? Like
Mhm.
Denver's been a team that's been rumored around Mac
Yeah.
Jones as well. Like if they pass on Mac Jones, like then who's there? You're right.
Yeah.
There could be a guy start to slip into those 20s.
Yeah, I'm not going to go as far as to say there's what 6 quarterbacks because what is it? Guarantees are Lance, obviously Wilson, Lawrence, and I'm losing
Fields.
my mind. Fields, and then Mac Jones. Yeah, maybe I am saying 6 quarterbacks. I was thinking 7. Yeah, 7 definitely aren't, but 6. Yeah, it
6 is
could be.
possible. 6 is possible.
We say that, and then in other years, like guys like Andy Dalton or whatever go and end up being taken in the top half of the second round. But if you want to get that, first round option, you mentioned Denver passes. Could the Buffalo Bills be in a prime position to make a
Mhm.
trade and only drop back 5 or 6 spots and pick up some relatively decent draft capital? I'm talking a 3rd round pick or a 4th round pick. If
Well,
if somebody sees someone said it in here, Andrew Miller, if somebody sees the next Dak Prescott in Kellen Mond.
yeah, I mean, again, we have to look at sort of what like we have to remember, okay, there are teams that are guaranteed to take QBs, right? We know it's Jacksonville,
Mhm.
the Jets, and the Niners all seem poised to take quarterbacks. So when we start talking about, who would be a trade up candidate for the Bills at pick 30, well, it's probably not necessarily going to be any of the teams that are picking super early in the second round because those are some of the same teams, right? So you have Jacksonville at pick 33, the Jets at pick 34, probably not going to trade with the Jets anyway. But who knows, man? I mean, you've got Denver sitting there at pick 40 is the one that I keep coming back to. Like Miami, I don't think they're going to take a quarterback. The Eagles probably won't trade up to take a quarterback because they're likely to go with Jalen Hurts. The Bengals obviously not. So you sit there and you start looking at what's the team that might trade up. And if you're Denver at pick 40 and you pass at a quarterback at pick 9 and you take like a Micah Parsons, Denver to me seems like a very possible candidate to trade up with. Now, if you're the Bills, then you have to weigh, is moving down 10 spots worth it? You probably would want to try to squeeze out an extra 3rd rounder if you're going to move down 10 spots. I don't know if they're going to be able to, but I think we always say it takes 2 to tango, right? You're going to need someone who wants to move up into that spot. And I look at the teams that are picking from picks 31 to 39, and I just don't know that I see any team in there. And maybe it's Atlanta, right? Maybe it's Atlanta at pick 35 as a wild card team in there. Maybe Atlanta takes a Sewell or a Pitts at 4, and they decide, you know what, we're going to try to get the future behind Matt Ryan and move up. So really, Atlanta to me and Denver are the two, with the 10, with 10 picks maybe behind the Bills, that would be the two that could conceivably jump up.
Got Ryan Sullivan of the 585 Report, which airs every Saturday here on the Buffalo Fanatics Podcasting Network, coming in with a super chat. He says, I'm trying to trick a team to trading up to 30 for Davis Mills, who's another quarterback. That's how desperate teams are for quarterbacks. Like Davis Mills is a guy who, like, everyone's underrating Davis Mills. Like, no, they're not. Like, the dude's a 3rd, 4th round pick. Will probably be a backup quarterback in this league, max. But some team is going to see Davis Mills and start drooling all over themselves, because he's a cerebral passer from Stanford. So, we saw it with Trent Edwards getting overdrafted a couple years ago.
Cerebral.
Uh,
That was like what was the Rico and Greg were doing something funny on Twitter the other day where they were like describing
White
all
dude from
this
Stanford.
all like the white dude adjectives for football players. I don't think cerebral was mentioned, but that should be.
I didn't want to say he was a white dude from Stanford, and that's why he's going to, and that's why he's getting a little overhyped. He was
Hey
the
man,
number one
Bill
quarterback.
Walsh loved Trent Edwards, so even the great ones get it wrong
Yeah.
sometimes.
And who knows? Maybe if he wouldn't have gotten bashed in the head so many times, he might have had something,
Mhm.
might have done something in his career. But Randy says he was the number one quarterback coming out of high school, and that talent, that does talk. So, all right. What we're going to talk about today is we're going to start talking about some of the value picks in this year's draft. But
Mhm.
before we do that, speaking of value, there are 2 wide receivers that we have had our eyes on in the middle rounds of this draft. And that's the first thing we want to start talking about. Cole Beasley's 32 years old.
Yep.
Emmanuel Sanders is getting up there as well and is only on a 1-year contract.
Yep.
This offense, part of the reason why Josh Allen thrives is because of how effective Cole Beasley is in the slot. So is it too soon to start looking for the next Cole Beasley? I know
Mm-mm.
that oh gosh, Frank Barber, the guy who wears the Hannibal mask to the Bills game, he on the poll that we put on Twitter, which Shi Smith won running away. It was only about 400 votes, but Shi Smith running away, he said, guys, this is 1 year too early for me to have to think about this. Like, I don't want to think about it. But there are some receivers in this draft, whether it's Shi Smith, who we're going to be talking about here, whether it's Dax Milne, who we're going to be talking about here, whether it's Dwayne Eskridge, whether it's Elijah Moore, whether it's Daz Newsome, Jalen Darden, or even you could throw Isaiah McKenzie into that mix. There are a ton of guys that I want to talk about today who could possibly be the next Cole Beasley. And that's where I want to get things started today. But before we do that, we got a super chat from Andrew Miller. He says, wild card thoughts. What player could be packaged with a trade? I think Singletary, maybe package if we went running back early, not saying at 30.
We've mentioned, right? I mean,
If we take a corner early, Levi Wallace. If we take a defensive tackle, Harrison Phillips, I think could be a guy who could be packaged. So I'm not saying any of those guys are worth a draft pick in their own right, but I'm saying you could move up around by packaging some players like that. So
could AJ Klein be a package?
No,
could be
no, he could
no,
not.
no,
No.
he can't.
I mean, Brandon Beane's a wizard, but I don't know if he's that. If the contract wasn't like the way it is, somebody Jack Kyler even in the comment section even says Isaiah Hodgins. Not sure what his build is, but he's sneaky. Yeah, he's a bigger guy. He's more of a big slot, I think. Brian Adams coming in and said, let's find a way to go get Chad Beebe, who's actually making a nice little career of himself in Minnesota. So Kate Johnson, Ryan Sullivan coming in with Kate Johnson. So let us know. Armand St. Brown says, Andrew Miller in the comment section. So let us know in the comment section what you think. And Dave, I'm going to start with you. Shi Smith or Dax Milne? To me, it's down to those two. Like, those are the two that tickle my fancy the most. If the Buffalo Bills made up their mind, 3rd round, they're taking one of these two guys, which one are you going with?
I'm going with Shi Smith. I just think that he has a little bit more athletic upside than Dax Milne. Now, I know Dax Milne, he's going to give you everything he has on every play. He's going to, like, we talked to, I forgot who it was we talked to, so forgive me for forgetting who gets the credit for this, but we talked about how Dax Milne was running his routes on every single play, even if it wasn't going to him. SIS, yes, right. John Todd was saying that how Dax Milne was running his routes on every play, even if it wasn't going to him, to give the appearance that he might get the ball. Like, I mean, that's something that, I don't know, man. Like, you can coach that to an extent, but you really got to have like the heart and desire to want to really be great for your teammates and team to do stuff like that. Now, I'm not saying Shi Smith isn't that. I do think Shi Smith is probably the better prospect and better player. So based on the fact that I'm not really worried about culture or what's between the ears with the way that the Bills have set up the organization and the culture within One Bills Drive, I think, to me, it's Shi Smith. He gives you more, a little bit in the return game as well. I just think he's a better athlete, and I think he's good. He would be more productive, I think, in the Bills' offense as a slot than Dax Milne. I do like Dax, but my vote would go to Shi Smith.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, speaking of Shi Smith, I'm gonna pull up this graphic here. This is a tweet from our man in the comments section, Randy Hardman. He says, "Listen, the competitive nature, and this is a guy who watches a lot of South Carolina football. The competitive nature Shi Smith plays with gives me some serious Stephon Diggs vibes. He's been saying it for a while now, and I understand that as a Gamecocks fan, I'm perceived as biased. But just remember, Stephon Diggs was a 5th-round pick. These guys aren't done growing. Just saying. And if you watch Shi Smith's game tape, like, that guy plays with an edge."
Yep.
Like, he plays with a serious edge. And when he ran that 4.340, like, that was a turning stone moment for me. I'm not saying him running the 4.340 is what changed my mind on him. But now that I know that he's capable of picking up that kind of speed, and it matches how he plays on the field, like, this is a guy who makes contested catches. This is a guy who works on the boundary. This guy who works inside. This guy who does a lot of things, and he does have that same sort of tenacious attitude that Stephon Diggs has out on the football field. He also, if you look at some of his advanced statistics, Pro Football Focus did some player comps. Now, TDN and other places, and I was going to get to that as well, Bobby. Thank you. Brandon Beane was at that Gamecock Pro Day. Who was he there for? Was he there for JC Horn? Was he there for Mukawamu? Was he there for Shi
Sedarius?
Smith? Was he there for Sedarius? Like, who's he there for? My guess is it's one of the first
Ernest
three.
Jones?
My guess is it's one of the first three.
Yeah.
My guess is it's one of the two corners, or it is Shi Smith. And I think that Sedarius might just be a nice little fill, and Ernest Jones might be a nice little, okay, they're there too. But I think it's one of the first three. Because JC started rising after his pro day. So who knows? Maybe it's JC and this whole thing is a moot. But, back to what I was saying about Shi Smith, those Pro Football Focus, those advanced statistics. I'm not saying it's God. I'm not saying it's saint-like. I'm not saying we should be drooling over it. But, TDN comps Shi Smith to Jamison Crowder, right? And I'm like, yeah, it's a nice little slot receiver. But if you look at those advanced metrics, one of the names also on that list comped to Shi Smith is Antonio Brown, who was also a middle round pick, similar stature, similar build, similar skill set to Shi Smith, who played with that same edge that Shi Smith plays with. So to me, that's a name when I saw that on the comp list, the physical comp list, the production comp list, the advanced statistics comp list. When I saw Antonio Brown there along with James Crowder, and there are also some shitty football players on that list too, don't get me wrong, that also stuck out to me a little bit. But I don't want to throw Dax Milne under the bus just yet. You mentioned what John Todd had to say. The Buffalo Bills have also met with Dax Milne. And a lot of people are saying that the ability that Dax Milne has will actually be better off in the slot. And he wasn't utilized in the slot at BYU like he would be in the National Football League. And I'm going to pull up this graphic here. We got Dax Milne. He showed really well in his 40, a 4.54 at his pro day. He had a really good 3-cone drill, really good agility. And I look at this other statistic from Pro Football Focus, highest passer rating when targeted versus single coverage in 2020. Dax Milne was number one in college football. So this is a guy who is a crisp tactician of a route runner, a guy who we saw play with Zach Wilson at BYU, a guy who was really good when Zach Wilson was sort of getting out of the pocket and making things up as he went. Dax Milne was moving around and finding the open spot and coverage and stuff as well. So this is a guy who, kind of like Cole Beasley has with Josh Allen, this is another guy who can create a relationship with Josh Allen and can make those similar plays. So I wouldn't count Dax Milne out either.
No, we can't count him out. And we're talking tonight about the all value teams that we put together. Like, I would imagine that Dax Milne's not going to get drafted as high as Shi Smith. So if you're talking about value and you're thinking like, maybe, we look at this board and we're the Bills and we realize we don't have a 4th round pick. Is the 3rd round too early to take Shi Smith? And if we don't take Shi Smith in the 3rd round and we don't end up having a 4th round pick, maybe the better value is taking a Dax Milne with one of our 2 5th round picks or our 6th round pick. So that's where the Bills have to weigh this decision, because I do think Shi Smith will get drafted ahead of Dax Milne. And the fact that the Bills don't have a 4th round pick is really going to make things interesting. Jeff says, I need to watch some size.
We lost Jeff Yin Yang.
And we have a super chat in here from Buffalo Fan 64. I think Buffalo should find a wide receiver in day 2 to learn under the veteran for year before replacing Cole Beasley. And we were talking about that. Yeah, Cole Beasley, 2022 is the last year on his deal. Sanders is only here for 1 year. So for a team that runs a lot of 10 and 11 personnel, and that 4th receiver, to me, and I mentioned this to Dave Myers from Built in Buffalo on his show, the 4th receiver to me on the Bills is more important than the tight end. That I will say that, like, that they're more important than the tight end on this team. So we do need to think about receiver, maybe not necessarily specifically for 2021, but if we can get someone that can learn under these guys while we still have them, if we can get a guy in that room who can learn under both Sanders and Beasley while Sanders is here in 2021, I am swayed to maybe doing something like that. And whether it's day 2, even day 1, like I can be convinced somewhere along the line that we do need to take a receiver, and that it's likely that receiver will be battling it out with Isaiah Hodgins for that final roster spot. So we will see what happens.
How often are you going to have those 2 football players on your roster? Like, how often are you going to have that kind of skill set, that kind of veteran leadership, those kind of players to push the young guys? It's not often. And if the Buffalo Bills do go for a wide receiver on day 2, I think Shi Smith is going to end up being a day 2 pick. I think after he ran that 40 with the combination of his college film, if
Yeah, I
anything,
mean,
if anything, he's an early day 3 pick, which makes
but
me
for
think
us,
late day 2. You got to
yeah,
take.
for us at
Yeah.
93, I mean, again, that's
Mhm.
essentially tapping, dipping into the 4th round there at that point.
Mhm.
So I
Yeah.
would be totally fine with it.
And there are other names to throw in. Tommy Rhodes coming in with Daz Newsome. We'll talk about that as well. But if you're going to spend that day 1 or day 2 pick, it's Elijah Moore, it's Rondale Moore, it's Kadarius Toney.
Mhm.
We've met. I don't want to say we've met with Elijah Moore, but people who have been in the know, guys like Joe Marino, have heard the name Elijah Moore connected to the Bills. So that's a name that, even though we have no proof that they met with him, I'm going to throw out there as a name. Rondale Moore has met with the Bills. Kadarius Toney is not. So between Rondale Moore, Elijah Moore, between Dwayne Eskridge, who the
Mhm.
Buffalo Bills met with, and they sent people out to Western Michigan for his pro day, and Shai Smith, there are day 1 and 2 receivers who the Buffalo Bills legitimately have their eyes on, both
Mhm.
before they signed Emmanuel Sanders and after they signed Emmanuel Sanders. And
Correct.
Barstool Sportsbook came out today and had Josh Allen number 3 in the MVP voting behind Patrick Mahomes and Aaron Rodgers. If we go out and draft another receiver in the first 2 rounds of the draft, pick any one you want, any of them you want, and we have Emmanuel Sanders, Gabe Davis, Stephon Diggs, Cole Beasley, and that guy, plus
Mhm.
Isaiah McKenzie, plus, Dawson Knox underneath. I know you want to hate on Dawson Knox, but he still can make some plays. I mean, this is a team that's
I'm
not
not
going to go.
hating. I'm just saying the 4th
No,
receiver
I'm
is more
not saying
important.
you. I'm not saying you're hating, but I'm saying people hate.
Yeah.
Who's first of all, why are we running the football? And second of all, who's stopping that offense? It's going to be video game like numbers for Josh Allen next year. It's
I'll
going to be
put it to you this
disgusting.
way. Did the fact that the Chiefs had Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce stop them from going after a Demarcus Robinson, a
Mecole
Mecole Hardman?
Hardman.
Like, no, it didn't.
Nope.
I mean, they just stack weapons on top of weapons. So in the case like
Mhm.
we saw this year, they lose Sammy Watkins. They're not missing a beat, man. They're not.
Mhm.
So
Yeah, and I forgot what I was going to say, honestly. Just honestly forgot what I was going to say. I was distracted by this comment from Thomas Burke. Elijah Moore is in contact with Buffalo. Thomas Burke can confirm that Elijah Moore has been. Thomas, I'm trusting you, man. I'm putting my faith in you. I'm saying these things on the internet. My
where
reputation is
everything
on
is
the line,
true,
Thomas
where
Burke.
everything is true on the internet.
There's gonna be some clip of me next to Alex Jones next week, like just.
Oh my God.
But even if we have to wait until later, like say the board doesn't fall the way we want, Tommy Rhodes mentioned Daz Newsome. There are a number of names: Daz Newsome, Jalen Darden, Anthony Schwartz, who I don't like. I don't know why the Bills have talked to him. He's really fat.
I don't like him either. I mean, people are enamored with him, but I am not.
Cade Johnson. There are so many guys in the back half of this draft that we love.
Walt Filer
Walt
is on my
Filer.
list.
There's so many good football players. Oh yeah, I have that handy dandy list in front of me. Where is it?
My value receivers were Walt Filer,
Smith
Cade
Marset.
Johnson, and I don't even remember who my third one was at this point.
Yeah.
I have to go.
Yeah, I'll tell you, Lone Wolf. It's been happening way too
Gracie
often
McMath.
lately.
That's right.
Here we go.
That's right.
Oh, it was about all the guys at Kansas City. There we go. I just got it back. All these dudes that we're talking to, right? Elijah Moore, Dax Milne, like I've seen them all connected to Kansas City. I've seen them. Kansas City has no offensive tackles, and they're still talking to receivers. So, yeah, they've been to the last 2 Super Bowls, won one of them. They keep drafting receiver over and over and over again. I think the Buffalo Bills have realized that let's go add a receiver every single year. So let's do it.
What about Michael Stracken? Is that how
Michael
you say his name?
Stracken? Yeah, the next Megatron. The man is convinced he'll be the man is convinced. Him and his agent are convinced he will be off the board before round 4. So it's gonna be really interesting to see if maybe
See how
what's
good his
going on
agent
there.
is.
Yeah. But he's a really interesting guy. Who is the guy last year from Liberty? Right? Who is it?
Gandy Golden.
Gandy Golden. Michael Stracken has the body of Gandy Golden, but is 10 times the athlete. He's 10 times the athlete. Like the athlete that Michael Stracken is, he's a legit 6'5", 228-pound track star. Like it's insane. His wingspan, 84-inch wingspan, his vertical, it's nuts. He ran like a 2.840, something like that. Like the dude is absolutely insane. But he
Mhm.
also played at not the College of Charleston, but the University of Charleston, which is in West Virginia.
Here you
Like,
go.
so
Here you go. Randy's saying it.
yeah.
Charleston, West Virginia via the Bahamas.
Yeah, and he was born in the Bahamas. So I don't know what team is going to pull the trigger on him. And he says, like, listen, I'm day one ready to go. I can be a boundary receiver in the National Football League. And I'm like, I'm sitting there like, I'm not going to disrespect the dude, like in the middle of an interview. But yeah, something tells me that maybe he's not going to see the field more than just situationally early in the National Football League.
Mhm.
So, I mean, it's tricky. It is tricky with his projection. He could be 100% right, and there could be a team that turns him into Megatron day one, and I'm just going to sit here and sound like an idiot. But yeah, it'll be really interesting to see what happens there. So before we get into our all value teams, which is what we're going to talk about today, we're going to talk about our all value teams. Let's bring on Kendall to finish off this debate here between Dax Milne and Shi Smith. We're sitting on the board. Would you rather have? Let's put it this way, Kendall. Shi Smith in round 3 or Dax Milne in round 5? Who's the guy you want to groom to replace Cole Beasley?
Can I say Shi Smith round 4?
Well, we'd have to trade up to round 4, so you're giving up that 5th round pick anyway, I guess.
I don't know. Yeah, that's so tough. Like changing the rounds around makes it really tough for me because I would, I would like to get a different position in round 3. I would prefer not to go wide receiver in the first 3 rounds, but I would totally be okay with it. If you're just asking straight up for the player, I would say Shi Smith. The investment makes it more difficult. I still think I would go Shi Smith. I think here's the thing. Milne, I think he could play perimeter or the slot. I think his route running seems like he could separate no matter where he's aligned. So I personally don't have so many concerns about him on the perimeter. And I think that route running savvy obviously translates into the slot. But I think the athlete you're getting in Shi Smith is just too appealing to pass up on.
Who's more willing to play with a broken leg, Dax Milne or Shi Smith?
I mean,
Both.
according to here's the thing. Yeah, according to Randy, it's Shi Smith. According to the conversation you alluded to earlier about the white man traits in football, it's Dax Milne. So I don't know.
I mean,
I don't know.
according to John Todd, it would probably be Dax Milne.
Yeah,
not to
probably
put words in his mouth, but I mean, Tommy Rhodes is making the comment that I pretty much made earlier, right? Let me pull this up. He says better value because I think it would be available around 3, but player for player, I'm going Shi, and that's kind of what my point is. Like player for player, I'm going Shi, but the value question, I think, is what Kendall is alluding to as well. Is like, is it more valuable to pick a Dax Milne in around 5 or 6, or is it more valuable to pick a Shi Smith in round 3? I think I would still go with Shi Smith.
Same.
I don't know.
It's tough though. It makes it a lot closer when you put it in terms of investment.
And here's what I'll say. Like, obviously you can't put too much stock into it. But if you go to YouTube and you type in Shi Smith and you type in Dax Milne, this is gonna be the closing here. The very elegant closing that I'm going to give you guys here. If you type in Shi Smith and Dax Milne into YouTube and you just watch their highlights, you have a lot of fun watching Dax Milne. You have hella fun watching Shi Smith. Like that dude, just every single play, balls to the walls, 100%. So, yeah, I'm gonna go with Shi Smith because he gets me feeling it down in my loins like Travis Henry when he sees a woman and he wants to have 47 kids. That's the feeling I get when I see that Shi Smith.
Phillip Rivers is the new Travis Henry.
Yeah,
although it's with the same person, so it's a little different.
Yeah, it's a little different.
All right, Kendall, thank you so much. Kendall will be back as we talk about some of our value picks in this draft and things of that nature. But we're at that time now. What we're gonna do today is we're gonna share our all value teams, and we want you guys to deep down in my plums, says Randy. There's probably a more cordial way of saying what I was trying to say there. We're gonna talk about our all value team. So these are guys we're gonna go 3rd round and after, And we want you guys to share it too. Like guys the Bills have been connected to, guys you think are good fits for the Bills. Like who are the value guys? Like, you know how every single year there's someone on ESPN, probably my guy Mel, Tad, in between the Tads, talking about how the draft is made round 5 through 8. Actually, it's probably Susie Colbert because she's the one who I think hosts the 5 through 8 rounds. You always, the Matt Milanos of the world, like where are we getting our value in this year's draft? Like who is the guy we're going to pick out who's going to come in and he's going to be a real cornerstone player on this team or a really impactful player on this team? Last year it was Tyler Bass. This year or a couple of years ago is Matt Milano. There's always one or two every couple of years. So who are these value guys? And we're just going to go position by position. And we're going to skip quarterback because our quarterback is Josh Allen. Then it's Mitch Trubisky. And then it's Jake Fromm and Davis Webb. So we don't have to worry about quarterbacks. Not to mention after like Jamie Newman and like after Davis Mills, like no thanks. Like it's like Sam Ellinger and Ian Book. No. Like we don't need to talk about quarterbacks.
Not for me.
Running backs. So let's start with running backs. And my two all value running backs are two little guys, Javian Hawkins and Puka Williams. Javian Hawkins is obviously met with the Buffalo Bills. He's a guy who I think could come in and make an instant impact on this football team. He's got speed to get to the edge. He can do that jet sweep stuff. He can play in the return game. He's just an all-around playmaker in a smaller, compact body. So he can come in and honestly, Matt Breida would be out the door, and it would be Javian Hawkins filling that Matt Breida role. The other guy is very similar, Puka Williams. Puka Williams is the guy who you might be able to get later. More of, I think, maybe a receiving back, more so than some of the all-around ability that a Javian Hawkins gives you. But he's a guy I think you could probably fit onto the practice squad and get later on and develop on the practice squad to become a part of your rotation down the line. So Puka Williams and Javian Hawkins are two of those guys that really caught my attention. We got Bills Mafia STF coming in saying Jamar Jefferson. I personally think his skill set is a little too similar to some of the running backs we already have. Chuba Hubbard, Andrew Miller. We already know that Andrew Miller has a Chuba for Chuba Hubbard. I love his speed. I have concerns about his pass protection, and I have concerns about his ability to catch a football because he's never asked to do that in college. But obviously, we saw with a guy like Devin Singletary. So, who are your value running backs, guys that you're looking for?
Yeah, and just to preface this whole thing, for everyone, I don't think we're saying like we're going to take this position. I think we're just saying the value at each position is what it is. And also, the way I approached this was I kind of tried to look at it as like day 3 guys only. So I like if a guy was like borderline round 3, I tried to kind of leave him off because I know we've talked about him a little. But you mentioned Hawkins, who's also one on my list, and we only did 2 running backs. So I don't really need to get into Hawkins any more than you did. But the other guy for me was a guy that you had on your no matter what list, like way back in February, which is CJ Maribel from Coastal Carolina. I'm actually going to have 2 Coastal Carolina guys on my list tonight. But Maribel is a guy that obviously had really nice production in college. You look at his numbers in college, almost 2,700 rushing yards. It was really only in 3 seasons. He transferred from Arkansas State. 29 rushing TDs, 84 receptions for another 703 yards and 12 TDs in college. He also returned kicks. So if you're talking about a guy that maybe isn't the flashiest as far as like speed and from that standpoint, like this guy can really do anything for you on the football field. He can catch passes, he can run, he can return kicks if need be. And so as a value, and I'm thinking as a value, probably maybe a 7th rounder or even a UDFA in CJ Maribel that you can maybe bring in to the squad and maybe fill that role that maybe Christian Wade isn't here in a year. Maybe Matt Breida is only here on a 1-year deal. Maybe CJ Maribel can be that 3rd running back like you had with TJ Yeldon last year once the dust settles on Matt Breida and Christian Wade. So I think he's a good value. I'm not saying the Bills should pick him or will, but I think as a running back who's going to get picked late or maybe not even drafted, I think he's good value.
Yeah, we got a couple people coming in by chance as Jermaine Martin as a deep sleeper. Not gonna lie to you, I'm gonna have to look that one up. And a couple other people have said Ramondre Stevenson from Oklahoma, highly touted recruit. He's a bigger guy. A couple of people have mentioned him as a fullback, like a Michael Robinson type. So that would be really interesting. Roman Bobek says people forget Aaron Jones was a UDFA. Yeah,
Mm.
I think that's why. I think that's why a bunch of people are like, let's just skip on running back and go get other things, because like CJ Maribel could very well be there as a UDFA. Claude Puys just mentioned Chris Evans. Does Chris Evans get drafted? If he doesn't, he could be sitting there. Andrew Miller says no Patterson. I like Jared Patterson. I think his skill set is a little too similar to Devin Singletary. I think he's Devin Singletary with a little bit more juice. I'm content with Devin Singletary, Matt Breida, and Zach Moss heading into 2021. I'm content.
Same.
If I'm looking to upgrade anywhere, it's I'm doing what Ombre Lob says, and I'm going for a big boy. Like I'm going for the Najees of the world. Or I'm coming in and finding a guy to challenge Matt Breida, because Matt Breida is the one on the 1-year deal. So you have your vision contact guy in Devin Singletary. You have your power guy who's got vision and contact to his game as well, and Zach Moss, who's also coming off an ankle injury. That's a little concerning. You got Antonio Williams with a similar skill set to Zach Moss. And then you have Matt Breida and Christian Wade and Tywan Jones as your speedy guys. So I want to bring in competition for that niche trait, that speed. That's what I would be looking for. But Ombre Lob also mentioned Khalil Herbert, who returns kicks, will be a really good number 2 running back in this league. He's got that combo of speed and power, Tommy Rhodes says. So Khalil Herbert's another one who I think could be drafted a little higher than a lot of people think. So Khalil Herbert's definitely one as well that could have made this list. Almost did, but Puka's 40 really got me feeling things. So I'm feeling a lot of things for speed from some of these 40 times. Maybe I shouldn't, but I am. All right, let's move it on now to the wide receiver position, which we just talked about. So I'm going to let you go first, because I had Shi Smith on my all value list, and I'm going to take him off. Because I'm going to take Shi Smith off because we just talked a whole bunch about him. I'm going to add another wide receiver to my list. So you go first, and you share your 3 guys.
Yeah, so I have two of my guys are slot receivers with kick return ability, and another guy is more of a big body boundary guy that's a project. So my first one's Whop Filer from Indiana. He was on the Biletnikoff watch list in 2020. He has the most double-digit catches in IU history. Really nuanced route runner at Indiana. Honestly, he's a guy that you would see and envision could be like the perfect guy under the wing of a Cole Beasley. 2,000 career receiving yards at Indiana, and even had some, some work in the ground game with 20 plus rushing attempts. So I think he projects well as someone who could really do a little bit of everything. I really liked watching him. He was really fun to watch. One of my favorite guys to watch as I was going through this process, and gives you something on special teams. So I like Whop Filer. I think he's a day 3 pick, most likely. Like I said, and I think he could be good value. My second one is Cade Johnson, who I don't know if it was Andrew Miller or someone else mentioned him. We've talked about him before on this show. Set his team's school record for kick return yards in 2017 with 839, over 2,500 receiving yards and 25 TDs in 2018 and 2019 combined. 56 career kick return attempts in college, so he's very comfortable returning kicks. To me, he's not super speedy. He's not necessarily like I'm saying these things and you're like, well, why isn't he going to get drafted higher? It's because he's not that big and he's not that really top end speed guy. He's 5'10", about 190, and he doesn't have that top end speed necessarily, but good. And he played, actually, I think he played boundary a little bit too in college, which he wouldn't be in the pros. But another guy who could be a nice potentially practice squad. I don't know if he'd make it onto the practice squad, but I think a day 3 or UDFA. And then my third guy is Races McMath from LSU. Only 33 career receptions, but he really hasn't had the chance to kind of show what he can do yet. He has every physical attribute you want in a prototypical sort of alpha receiver. He's big, he's fast, 6'2.5", 225. The note I had on him was his wide receiver coach before the season was quoted as saying he could be a first-round pick, right, if he really kind of put it all together. And he's not going to be, obviously, but the coach, on LSU, the wide receiver coach on LSU basically said, like, this guy has the abilities that you would look for in a number 1 wide receiver and potentially a guy that could be picked in the first round. So if you're looking for a guy to develop as someone that you wouldn't have to teach some of the unteachable skills like speed and size to, but really more of the nuanced details around route running and being a pro and being consistent, he was definitely a guy that I'd be willing to kind of bring in as a UDFA or even take in the 7th round. So those are my 3.
Yeah, looking through a lot, I see a lot of them at Bebe, Amari Rogers. I wouldn't put Amari Rogers on the all value team. I personally think he'll be drafted too high. Bobby coming in here talking about everybody dropping Felton because of his Raz. I was never really too high on Felton, but he's going to drop and he's going to be there later. So he's guy gives you a little bit of running back, a little bit of wide receiver, but the 3 guys I'm going to go with, and like I said, Shi Smith was on my list, so I took him off. Number 1 is Cornell Powell from Clemson. I mean, this is a guy who everyone's like, well, it took him forever to, thank you, Eric, with the little fire emoji next to Cornell Powell. It took him forever to get on the field. It took him ever to produce, blah, blah. Like, who cares if he's a late bloomer? He bloomed, right? And he bloomed at a high profile program against some big time competition. And he had some big time games and some big time moments. He had Sean Wade on ice skates from the slot in that college football playoff game. He's a guy who's got inside outside flex. He's got the prototypical body of a guy who can become an alpha. So to me, Cornell Powell is a guy that a lot of people are sleeping on. I think we as prognosticators might be sleeping. There's got to be some GM out there who's just salivating over Cornell Powell, and he can go a lot sooner than I think people think. I just saw someone mention Josh Palmer. That is Kendall's guy. We're going to bring Kendall on in a second, talk about Josh Palmer a little bit. To Tamari and Terry, who I think in his 9 career touchdowns at Florida State averaged 19 yards per catch or something insane like that. Like, it was his downfield ability at 6'4", like 215 is nuts. Played at a JV program there at Florida State, didn't get great coaching. Marquez Stevenson's another one. The 2 I went with after Powell were Smith Marset, a guy from Iowa. This is a guy who was open all the time, but there was just no quarterback to get him the football. This is a guy who's got that jet sweep. He can play on the boundary. He can play in the slot. He can affect the return game. Smith Marset is a guy that I absolutely love. And then last but not least, I'm going to go with a little Mac love. Maction. Not Antonio Nunn, Andy, you know what? No, I'm doing it. Screw it. I'm going with Antonio Nunn. Antonio Nunn. He's got inside outside flex. He can contribute on special teams. He's got 4.4 speed. I really do like Antonio Nunn. I was going to go with Isaiah McCoy, who I think has some John Brown potential, some Z receiver potential to his game from Kent State. But whether it's Isaiah McCoy or whether it's Antonio Nunn, I'm going to go with the wide receiver from the MAC as my 3rd. And then Tommy Rhodes also coming in talking about TJ Vasher, Texas Tech, 6'6", 215. He ran a 4.5 40. TJ Vasher, I think, is on a lot of people's radars. He's on one of Corey's radar. One of our regular listeners here, Corey, loves TJ Vasher. So, yeah, I'm gonna switch it up to Antonio Nunn. Represent the hat here because I don't have any other UB players on my list. I didn't want to be the homer, but why not? That's what we're here for. We are, as Dean Kinding would say, we are fanalists. Thank you, Ryan, for coming in, saying sup, fellas, just got out of the pool league. Smash that like. We really appreciate it.
I assume he's like billiards, not like swimming. I don't. I don't know.
Was it Smith Marset who was on the water polo team? Is that what Zach Vaughn was telling us? Oh no.
Yeah.
Who knows? Smith Marset was on the water polo team. We're gonna bring Kendall back on here real quick, and we want Kendall to talk to us a little bit about Josh Palmer from Tennessee because he's flying a little under the radar.
Yeah, so I brought up Josh Palmer a little bit. I asked you about him on Saturday's War Room show. Yeah, so TDN has him really low on their board. PFF, on the other hand, has him as their 72nd overall player. So I was like, okay, this is interesting. I should look into this. Why is there such a disparity? And I think most of it is because of his actual production. I don't think he eclipsed over 500 yards in any of his years at Tennessee. So I looked into it even more. And I mean, Tennessee has that running back. What is it? Breece Hall. Dude's a beast. They don't throw the ball a whole lot. So they get like 200. I think they averaged 200 passing yards this year. And Palmer was 40 yards of that 200. So it's like, it's a decent share. It's not as big a share as you would like, but he's got the body to be a number 2 wide receiver. I watched his Senior Bowl one-on-ones and some of his highlights, and really more than anything, he just seems like a very well-rounded wide receiver. I think he wins mostly with his suddenness in his route concepts. He's not the most like sudden and agile athlete out there, but he's good enough in all areas. And I think his best area is his ability to release off the line of scrimmage and create separation through his route. So I think that's how he wins most of the time. And then the big frame helps when he's, boxing out the corner to, secure the catch point. So I think he's I don't know if he's a sleeper, but if he's there in, round 5, he's a huge value for me.
Yeah, we got Trek Reviewer coming in. He mentioned a couple wide receivers here again. Amari Rogers, I think, is going to go a lot sooner than people think. He was even doing running back drills at Clemson's Pro Day, which makes me think that a couple of teams have some really interesting ways they want to use him and are going to take him sooner rather than later. Tutu Atwell. There's some Deshaun Jackson vibes to Tutu Atwell's game. I don't know where he's going to go because early on in the process, he was very much like a fringe first rounder, and he has dropped back considerably since then. But again, that's according to the prognosticators, not, not any, sort of inside information we're hearing from NFL GMs. And remember, Brandon Beane's like, yo, before the Senior Bowl, our board is set. Like the combine.
I would guess round 3 if I had to bet. If I had to bet what round, I'd bet round 3.
Brandon Beane says like, hey, the boards are set like in January. Like we know where we're going. We just use these other things, to pluck guys off or to slightly move guys. So if Tutu Atwell was trending as a fridge first rounder, second rounder, yeah, I would say day 2 is probably more around where you're going to get Tutu. And last, Simi Fioco from Stanford, big dude, 6'5", 220, run that really quick 40. The issue I've heard with him is he's got some stone hands. So while he could be a really good special teamer, the thing I struggle with Simi is I understand that he has a different skill set because he's got that speed, but we got the big body in Gabe Davis. We got the big body in Isaiah Hodgins. I think I'd like more of just a traditional receiver than like a big body trait guy. That's why Michael Strawn, like I'm not as drawn to Michael Strawn as I think I was like a Gandy Golden last year. Then we end up going and getting obviously Isaiah Hodgins and Gabe Davis. Thomas Burke coming to the super chat says Cornell Powell is Colin Powell's nephew. I did not know that.
Is that true? I'm gonna fact check that one.
Fact check that one. Hey, it's on the internet. It must be true. McDermott will love the military background. Good process guy. I do remember. Who was it? I'm such an a-hole for forgetting this. The Buffalo Bills player who died in Vietnam.
I don't know.
I'm such an a-hole for forgetting this. Bills. Someone in the comment section save me.
Oh, Cornell Powell's from Greenville, North Carolina. That's ECU country. So interesting. He's from right around here. Nice. I didn't know that. I'm a fan now.
Was Bob.
I was a fan, but I'm more of a fan.
Bob
Kelso.
Not
Mark Kelso.
Not Mark. But Bob. He was killed in Vietnam, and Cornell Powell did like an introduction to him when he was enshrined in the Wall of Fame. I remember because I did that little piece on him for Memorial Day for Fanatics, and one of the video clips I found was Cornell Powell talking about him. So interesting. Cool. Did we figure out whether Cornell Powell is related to?
I mean, I couldn't find it, but I'm not going to discredit him.
I'm not going to discredit it. On the internet, must be true. But yeah, that's interesting. All right, so let's move it on now to tight ends, and Kendall will bring you back on in a little bit. Tight ends now. I have 2 tight ends on my list, and I've been really warming up to Trey McKitty, former FSU guy, great athlete, transferred to Georgia. He's got a nice frame, 6'5", 240. He could be an inline blocker. I think he can work the seam, do some underneath stuff. I think Trey McKitty's a guy who can come in here. Jacob Hollister's on a 1-year deal. Trey McKitty seems like a guy who can come in, maybe be tight end 3 early, and then maybe become like a little 1-2 punch with Dawson Knox. Like I said, we don't overuse our tight ends. So you want guys there who can contribute, but you also don't want guys who are there who are going to embarrass themselves. So I think a guy like Trey McKitty could be a nice guy, a nice body to add in there to sort of work with and off of Dawson Knox. And then my guy, Kerry Angeline from North Carolina State, your guy, Kerry Angeline from North Carolina State, a guy who can work the seam. He can be that big slot receiver. I really get some Dan Arnold vibes from Kerry Angela, and I think he's flying way under the radar in this draft.
Yeah, and before I get to mine, Ryan Thiel says this is probably the hardest draft in the history of the draft. Pandemic, opt-outs, little film, wild card draft being we trust. Not to mention, yeah, the opt-outs thing to me is kind of like the wildest thing because you have perfectly healthy guys that didn't play last year, and that to me is a little wild. But it's going to be fun, and I do like the fact that it's a little bit more of a cluster this year because it just makes things a little more interesting. Angeline for me. I watched NC State all year. The guy lines up like wide, like most of the time. He's not a good blocker. I will say that he's really not. He's a guy that you want to split out as a.
He provides some effort though, so like
He does provide effort. I
skill,
will give.
There's something there to work with.
There's something to work with, and he's got like that nice lengthy body that you would look for in a red zone threat. Can work the seam. Hunter Long, I mean, yeah, I don't think he's I wouldn't consider him a day 3 pick though, so he wouldn't have made my list.
Yeah, you want to talk about a guy who should not be in line blocking? That's Kalen Granson from SMU. He is very much a big slot receiver. Noah Gray, H-back type, but Kenny Oboa is a guy that Kendall, was that you who was talking about him on Saturday night? Like I said, I'm getting old. It was either you or Zach was talking about Kenny Oboa. It was Zach. So Kenny Oboa is a guy who I think who could be this year's Dawson Knox. I know they both went to Ole Miss, but he could be this year's like 3rd round pick, like Kenny Oboa. So, all right. Who else do you got other than Kerry?
I had Poljon, which I know we both like. Converted quarterback. He's 6'7". Like he's a guy that he's a project, right? We've seen. What I like about this though is the Bills. The more I think about it, the more I think they're not going to pick a tight end early. And of course, I could be eating my words here. I think that if they want to bring someone into the room this year, it's going to be a project-y type of guy like an Angeline or a Poljon, because now there's some precedent, right, for quarterbacks converting to tight end, other positions converting to tight end, other players from other sports converting to tight end. So not saying that history is going to repeat itself and it's going to work out great for Poljon, but it's not as unheard of as it may have been 10, 15 years ago to take a guy who was a quarterback and make him a tight end. I mean, look what Logan Thomas finally broke out last year after, several years, obviously, of kind of being in the league. Poljon is a guy I would look for maybe in the 7th round or as a UDFA that you could, have that type of developmental track for him. And I'm not guaranteeing he's going to be anything, but he's a guy that has the physical, attributes that you would want to kind of maybe mold into a potentially good tight end.
Yeah,
so
I mean, Pro Wells, the former basketball player, is available as well. I see. Like the thing is, it's like with some of those guys, those projecty guys like Pro Wells, we pulling the trigger anything sooner than the 6th round because I don't picture them making the roster. So you don't want to use.
Got to be a guy that's going to the practice squad. Yeah.
Andrew Miller says the OSU tight end, which would be Luke Farrell, very much a stay-at-home blocker. Matt Bushman, he's older, not as confident in him as a blocker as well. And Dylan Schoner. So there are
Dylan Schoner. He almost made my list. I almost put him in there over Angeline since you had Angeline, but it just wasn't like the sexy pick. But dude, that guy could be your next Lee Smith for like 10 years. Dylan Schoner could be.
He's a big boy for like 2
years,
I think.
Yeah, he's a big boy.
So that brings us on to offensive line, and I say that. How about after offensive line, we go and we do our mock draft? Because I think Thursday's show, something we can talk about is the best defensive fits. And I think a lot of guys that we're going to talk about, we were planning on talking about, even though we're already 53 minutes in, instead of rushing through them, I think these are guys that we can talk about as like trying to make defensive fits for the Buffalo Bills. Because I
like that idea.
We were having this conversation. Like we've met with Darren Hall, who went to San Diego State. There's another safety in that secondary at San Diego State, and Tariq Thompson, who's super interesting. We met with James Wiggins at Cincinnati. There's another safety there at Cincinnati in Derek Forrest, who's also very interesting. So the Buffalo Bills have met with some guys, especially on the defensive side of the ball. And there are other players too that play on that same defense that the Bills have gotten some really up close looks at that could also be fits. So I think Thursday we'll focus on defensive fit. So we'll stop after the offensive line, but
I like that. Makes sense to me.
Offensive tackle, we got to talk about Tommy Doyle, right?
Yeah, you set the stage because he was on mine
Tommy,
too, but I can't do him justice like you can.
all I'm going to say is Tommy O'Doyle rules. He's not even O'Doyle. He's just Doyle, but Tommy O'Doyle rules. Go get me that 6'8", 300.
That would be the sign in the stadium for sure if we had him. Like, it would be Tommy O'Doyle rules. I mean,
Go get me that project. You remember last year from draft season how much I loved. Like, go get that physical freak, that guy who's 6'8", 330 some odd pounds, but is also a really good athlete. This is a guy who you might have to practice squad for a year. He is a guy high RAS score, and it shows on tape, says Kendall. He's a guy who you would put on the practice squad for a year, or maybe even keep him as like the 9th guy in your offensive line for the year. He could be your 4th tight end, right? Like,
yeah.
remember back in the Rex Ryan days where we used to bring out like Ryan Groy and stuff. The Bills have met with Doyle. I said last year we should bring Ty and Secchi out the block because that's how much I hated Lee Smith. But if the Bills want to fix, like, bring in Tommy, if you have to put Tommy Doyle on the roster because you're afraid you're not gonna be able to practice squad him, just go out and get that physical freak. A guy, Bobby Johnson, was at the Miami of Ohio Pro Day. Just an absolute physical freak where you could take him, and this is a guy you get in the 6th round who 2-3 years from now is a high caliber starter on your offensive line. Not just a guy, not just an Ike Butker, but a legitimate, like, Wyatt Teller. Look at what Wyatt Teller is doing in Cleveland. Like, that's who you're getting. That type of athlete, a guy who can turn into that type of player late in the draft. So Tommy Doyle is number 1 on my list. The other guy I have very similar is Josh Ball from Marshall, another big body guy from Marshall. So Tommy Doyle and Tommy O'Doyle rules, and Josh Ball are my 2.
I like both of those picks. Josh Ball has been kind of on my radar for a while. He was one of the first guys I actually scouted during this entire draft process because I started with tackles. This is before free agency. And I was like, well, Darrell Williams is gone, so I'm going to start looking at tackles. And so Josh Ball was a guy I looked at, liked him. The other guy who I started early scouting on is, and didn't even know at the time when I was going to, whether or not he was going to declare, and that's Drew Himmelman from Illinois State. This dude's 6'9", 315. Started 15 games at left tackle in 2019, Mountain Valley Conference first team and all academic first team in 2019, all FCS first team via 3 different publications in 2019. So for the competition that he played against, he was very highly decorated. And I think as a guy that you can bring in, and if you want to say, like, we're looking for the guy to kind of replace Trey Adams now that he retired at the bottom of the roster as a practice squatter who could be a potential swing tackle in the future or actually develop into something more. Why not give Drew Himmelman a look? He's a little bit older, so I mean, he's a redshirt senior, so he's a little bit older, but you can't teach 6'9". I mean, that could come to a detriment to him. So I do believe that, honestly, at 6'9", I think he's probably better suited to play right tackle, but I think he's worth a look as a project late. I like him.
Yeah. Ryan Sullivan says Ball does have some off the field stuff.
Yeah,
he was dismissed from Florida State. Ryan says it was possibly domestic violence. It wasn't mentioned in the scouting. It was mentioned that he was dismissed from Florida State in the scouting reports that I read. I didn't read the reason for it. Maybe it was, maybe it wasn't domestic violence, but we already have a fucking asshole offensive tackle from Florida State and Bobby Hart. So they can just be roommates and they can be assholes together. I'd rather have the asshole Josh Ball than the asshole Bobby Hart. So that's my rant for the day. Ryan Teal says, sucks that Trey Adams retired from an injury. Who's next? Yeah, who's next? Bring him on. And for us, it's Tommy O'Doyle rules. Josh Ball.
Or was he asking who's next to retire from injury? I don't know. I'm legitimately asking. Was that what he was asking? I don't know.
I don't think so. There was a couple other guys late, like Calvin Ashley's a guy late, who we could look into. Royce Newman was mentioned on our show on Saturday. The Bills have met with
Brennan James was a guy that I had. I mean, I think he's probably going to play interior, but he was on my early watch list for as a swing tackle. He could be.
That I love me some Walker Little.
Oh yeah.
And the Bills have met with Dan Moore Jr. from Texas A&M as well. So just a couple of names to keep in mind as we go through this process. Interior offensive line. My two big fat boys, and we'll start with guard before we move into center. But I went with Sedarius Hutchinson. Guy's got guard, tackle, flex. Big guy, 6'4", 320, big athlete. Played in the SEC. He played what? Left tackle, left guard, and I believe he played a little bit on the right side. Randy, you
Mhm.
can correct me and talk to me about where Sedarius played. I knew left tackle and I knew left guard. Alaric Jackson was mentioned. I think he's going to kick inside to guard. I don't
Mhm.
like his upside too much, but he's a guy, and Buffalo loves Iowa. Aaron Brooks is another guy. I think Aaron Brooks is going to end up going in the second round, so I didn't have him on my list. But yeah, Sedarius Hutchinson, very versatile offensive lineman, SEC battle tested, and Jack Anderson from Texas Tech University. I had him on my list as well. He can
Mhm.
play left guard, right guard, center, 6'4", 309. The Bills met with him at the Senior Bowl, had conversations with him at the Senior Bowl. So I like Jack Anderson. And while you talk about the guards that you like, I'm also going to pull up a picture of Jack Anderson because
That's fine.
the dude looks like Richie Incognito. It's disgusting.
He does. Just hitting on a couple comments. Aaron Banks, I know, has been mentioned, but I do think he's going to be third rounder or earlier, so I didn't have him on my list. Although I do think that's pretty good value for him. And Bills Are Electric mentions Brendan James. I also, I do like him. He was on one of my early watch lists. He's a guy that I think could play swing tackle or maybe even slide inside. Randy's going to be really happy because my all value guard team also includes Sedarius Hutcherson. So we're talking about guards here. He is tops of my list. And the other guy that, difference of opinion, I think, from some whether he's a fit or not for the Bills, but I just absolutely love him. This is a guy with guard center flex, and that's Kendrick Green from Illinois. I think he could be a real value for somebody on day 3. Honestly, I have him graded. I have him graded as a third round grade, so I wouldn't be surprised if Kendrick Green went on day 2. But did start a couple games at center his junior season. Accomplished guard his entire career. SIS has him as their number 9 overall guard. USA Today had him as a second team All American in 2020. He was a consensus first team All Big Ten in 2020. He was on the Outland Trophy watch list, which is the watch list for the best interior offensive lineman. He was the first Illinois player to win All Big Ten since 2011 and first offensive lineman from Illinois to get All Big Ten since 2007. Finished his career with 33 straight starts and an 88 grade from PFF in 2020, which was 6th out of 397 guards. So I love me some Kendrick Green. I just don't know. I think he might go on day 2, though. That's my only problem. As a day 3 value, I love him.
Here's a picture of Jack Anderson. And just tell me this dude doesn't scream Buffalo Bill and Richie. Like, look at this dude.
That's
Look
Richie
at
Jr., man.
this dude.
That's
Richie
Richie Jr.
Incognito. There's a horn in this draft. There is a Samuel Jr. in this draft, and there is an Incognito Jr. In this draft,
Oh,
ladies
yeah.
and gentlemen.
Oh, yeah.
Look at this. Jack Anderson is fooling no one. He was definitely conceived in some drunken night when Richie Incognito was in college. Look at that big fat boy. He needs to be a Buffalo Bill. Richie Incognito's love child right here.
He's got the arm tats that Richie has as well. So he's going full incognito there. I think you're right.
You can't not take this guy. A couple other names mentioned. What about your boy Judge Coyote? A couple of people have mentioned Coyote now, Andrew Miller and Tommy Rhodes. My thing with Coyote is he says the Bills haven't contacted him. And much like you, the reason you think like Kendrick Green might not be a fit. Kendrick Green is very much a zone blocker, in my opinion. Just like a couple of these. I like Drew Dahlman in this draft. I really like Drew Dahlman. I don't think the Bills would have interest in Drew Dahlman. I think he's zone block only. Same with Coyote. Coyote is very much a zone block only. I don't think he's going to be much of a man gap power guy. And I think the Buffalo Bills are making that transition back to a man gap power, or at least some semblance of it, because they didn't talk to Coyote. So to me, I think they're looking for bigger, thicker guys to surround Mitch Morse with, to sort of maybe, hide Mitch Morse and help Mitch Morse blend in. So to me, a guy like Coyote, I don't even think is on the Buffalo Bills board, unfortunately.
Sad.
Before I get to my center, which is Jimmy Morrissey's teammate at Pittsburgh, Bryce Hargrove. He's got Wyatt Teller, I think, written all over him. I really like Bryce Hargrove. He's a guy who looks like he could be like a really nasty run blocker, but he ends up statistically like grading out better as a pass blocker, which is something you like to see. Like, oh, he looks like a run blocker, but he's actually a better pass blocker. So a guy like Bryce Hargrove is really interesting. And then my center, my pivot is Jimmy Morrissey. Go back to what John Todd said. John Todd, what he had to say when he was here. He said Aleem McNeil is his DT1. Aleem McNeil was pushing around every single center in all of in all of the ACC except for one guy, and that was Jimmy Morrissey. Jimmy Morrissey was the only guy who wouldn't let Aleem McNeil push him around. So to me, that moved Jimmy Morrissey up in my book. I don't know if Jimmy Morrissey has the versatility, which might make him not on the Bills' radar. But Jimmy Morrissey's a guy, at least in the pivot, that I really like his future in the National Football League.
Yeah, and since you and Kendall both had Morrissey on your list, I begrudgingly had to pick someone else because I would have picked Morrissey as well. But look, I put this guy on my list just because I think from a fit perspective it makes sense, and that's Drake Jackson, the center from Kentucky. Smaller center, right? He's only 6'2", about 290. He's more, I think he's maybe even a little smaller than Mitch Morse, honestly, weight-wise. I don't know exactly what Mitch weighs, but I thought Mitch was around 300. I could be wrong. But anyway, Drake Jackson, 47 games played in his career at Kentucky, 44 consecutive starts. He's a smart guy. He has 2 degrees, got his master's while also getting his undergrad in 2020. Second team All-SEC in 2020, coaches in AP. First team All-SEC from PFF. 86.4 rating from PFF in 2020, which was 5th out of 196 centers. But he's on the smaller side. Again, that would probably fit if the Bills weren't going to change things schematically as a pure backup to what Mitch Morse gives you from a zone, finesse sort of running game standpoint. Lots of pulling, not a lot of, man get power, but I actually like Drake Jackson. I think that he could be a nice backup for somebody. I don't think he's going to come in and win any starting jobs, but as a value, if you're purely looking for someone who can give you a fit, if the Bills don't change their scheme, I think he's a fit.
Yeah, Tony Rhodes coming in saying he disagrees, and that's fine because the additions of Lamp and Douglas prove a commitment to zone. Bills Mafia also thinks we're heading zone. I just don't know if we're heading zone. Right? If we're heading zone and we're going to continue to keep doing this zone stuff, Kayode Awashika is a legitimate, awesome late round raw zone guard prospect that we're just not talking to. Like, that blows my mind. Maybe there are other things that go into it. Maybe the Bills are hiding their interest. I don't know. Maybe the Bills know what they have in him and they'll give him. But like, I just don't know. And
especially for a guy that's in their backyard, right? You would have thought they would have at least, but maybe they knew that he was in their backyard and they didn't have to, they felt like they didn't have to talk to him early in the process. Maybe they didn't.
Yeah, maybe they talked to him later. So another thing too is they went to Notre Dame's pro day and none of those big fat boys are going to be running in the zone blocking scheme. So it'll be interesting to see what the Buffalo Bills, the decision that they make. All right. What we're going to do now is we're going to bring Kendall on, and Kendall's going to talk to us about maybe some guys that he thinks that we missed. You guys can share some players that you think we missed all throughout the offense. And then we're going to run up this mock draft machine and we're going to get things going here with another mock draft Monday. There is no guest picker today, mostly because I just, didn't find someone to come join us. So you guys are going to be the guest picker today. We will let, how about this? We will let the people in the comment section guest pick. I'll figure out how we're going to do that. While you guys talk about maybe some prospects. While you guys talk about some prospects that you like here.
So I'll start at running back. I've been trying to bring this guy into the realm of talking for quite a bit now because I've been watching James Wiggins and I keep watching the other side of the ball, and running back Jared Dokes keeps sticking out to me. He is a redundant skill set.
Bad man.
He is a bad man. Like, he will run you over. He reminds me a lot of Zach Moss, just a little bit more athletic. He runs with a very similar kind of style, like he's intending to run through you. I just like his game. It's very complete. He's a very good pass catcher. His size and his mix of agility also tends to say that he's a good pass blocker. I haven't seen a lot of reps, but the ones I have, he's fine. So he's someone I would be interested in. TDN has him going like borderline undrafted. He would be a priority UDFA for me. I think he could 100% be a 3-down back down the road in his career. I think Andrew brought up Luke Farrell in the chat. He's someone I like for tight end. I think he would be a perfect guy to add to the team late. High floor for blocking, possession in the flats, tight end, not really going to give you a whole lot after the catch, but he'll get you the yards that are there. John Bates was another one. I haven't looked a lot into him, but he's another one that I would like to look into for tight end. Trey Smith was an interior offensive lineman, but he's right on that cusp. I'm not sure if he's going to be there even in round 3. Like, his tape, who he is as a person, his RAS score.
Injuries will be the only thing. I think he's got an injury history.
Yeah, that's the only thing that could really allow him to slide into round 3 or even further. That one concern with the injuries and the blood clots earlier in his collegiate career. But yeah, those were really the only guys that I had on my board that you guys didn't. Oh, and then Trayvon Grimes. Trayvon Grimes is an interesting one. I was watching the Senior Bowl and he was just popping for me. I don't know why. I really liked him. He's like 6'4", decently fast. He can high point the ball. Really didn't come into his own until this past year, but he had a nice solid year as wide receiver too, kind of behind the radar with Tony going off the way he did. But he's a high effort player. He just seems to win just cleanly on every down. He's a good run blocker too. He's just effort all around the board. And he also plays special teams as a gunner. So that's always appealing, especially if he's a late round guy or UDFA.
So Steve, for the mock, how do we want to handle trades with the comment section, or should we just say no trades for tonight's?
You know what? I think we can be the judge of the trades. So we will judge the trades, but then we'll throw it to the comment section. I was going to give like a person around, but there's more than 7 people in here who have been chatting up with us this evening. I'm going to say that like we're going to go with like majority rules. We know there's a 10-second delay, so we'll do that. But if someone is like super wants a player, like I don't mean to be a dickhead, but like if you super want a player, like throw it a super chat. Like if it's like a buck, just throw it in a super chat. Like if there's someone you are pounding the table for, throw in a super chat so it sticks out. But I'm not trying to get you guys to throw money at us to draft players. It's not what I'm trying to do here. So we will take majority rule unless someone feels so strongly they want to throw an auction super chat in. But please don't think I'm trying to milk you for your money here. That's not what I'm trying to do.
Wow, this is an interesting offer. They don't even want our first rounder. They want
that's not
second.
Realistic. That's not realistic.
Yeah,
let's just get to 30. Just gonna go ahead and decline that. All right. So, this should make things interesting with the chat section.
Oh, we got
2 running backs.
Jason Away is growing on me.
Yeah, I've liked him for.
He's my number 3 edge in the rankings.
I think his upside is too much to ignore if we're sitting at 30.
No, Roman, I'm not trying to get bidding wars going. That's not what I was trying to do.
Just ignore what he said about super chats. Just ignore what he said. We're doing majority rules.
Just spam
We're gonna do majority rules. Okay. If you
we got it.
The whole I'll tell you what, Ombre Lob, we will take Tyler Shelvin, but it won't be right here. We will take him tonight. We can try to
trade into the 4th, or we can get him in the 3rd, but we will make sure we get Shelvin.
We will take him.
Yeah.
So we can try to maneuver our own trade down here. Obviously, there are going to be some people in the ATN train. Alex Leatherwood, I think, could be a plug-and-play guard, even though I'm not too high on him as a tackle. Jason Away is a really high ceiling edge. Eric Stokes is a very low ceiling CB2. Landon Dickerson is all process all the time. Interior offensive lineman. Terrence Marshall is interesting, the wide receiver. Kadarius Toney is interesting, the wide receiver. No Bills connections there. there was another name in there that can you scroll down a little bit?
Yep. We've got some for Owa, some for Dickerson, some for Stokes. Those seem to be like the
Can you keep
three leading the
scrolling
clubhouse.
a little bit? There was another name, Levi O from Washington. Obviously, the Bills have interest in. Joe Tryon, the Bills have talked to. Creed Humphrey, he wrestled, so the Bills are interested. I'm not digging this board right now.
You know,
we're getting a lot of Owa right now. That seems to be
we
the
should
consensus.
do. We should check what happened in the top 10 and see which team needs a quarterback, and then see if we can trade back a little bit.
Go see what teams took quarterbacks in the top 10 of this draft. Scroll down, see where the quarterbacks went. So Trey Lance went to 3.
Atlanta,
Denver took Justin Fields.
Atlanta still needs one.
Carolina and Atlanta could still use a quarterback.
So we could try to get 35.
Carolina's not taking a quarterback now that they got Darnold.
Yeah, I don't think they are.
Oh yeah, never mind. Sorry.
I think we could try to make a trade with Atlanta at 35, and then
Atlanta
makes sense. If the chat
who did New England take?
Bateman.
Assholes. So it's the Bears that got Mac Jones, huh? Dude, Kyle Pitts went 18 to the Dolphins. Kill me now.
Oh my god.
Oh god, kill me. I mean, I would not be able to handle Kev on draft night if that happens. I think we should try to trade with Atlanta, right? I mean,
Atlanta or Jason Owe, I think is where we're getting to here.
Okay. Let's go with it. Like we got some trade. A lot of people want trade down. Like
let's see what's the most. Let's just see what's the most we can get from Atlanta.
Okay.
Let's see how much we can milk them. How full is that teat over there?
I can pull up the good old draft tech trade value chart.
No, we're just gonna try to fuck them. Well, they clearly don't want to be fucked. They're not letting give us the third.
They don't. They are not playing ball here. So I'm thinking we're probably
future. I doubt it. With how.
Nope. I think we're stuck here. Unless we want to move down.
We get a 4th rounder from them. If we get the draft trade value chart says we should be able to get that 2nd round pick and 4th round for our first. Maybe we would have to toss in like a 7th or a 6th.
They ain't even budging. So that tells me
that's
that
crazy. Wow.
Jason Owe is the majority here.
Jason Owe looks like the majority.
And the Bill.
Yep.
How?
That's the majority.
Okay. Can we have a conversation?
We're gonna take him. We're gonna take him.
Can we have a conversation about how insufferable some people will be on Twitter with the Aaron Maben comps?
Yeah, it's gonna be bad. And I urge people to look beyond Aaron Maben. He always is not the same prospect. He has more run stopping ability, gap discipline, stack and shed. He has more upside as a run stopper. He's not.
Also, we know Owe is not necessarily a 4-3 end. When they drafted Maben, they were like forcing him to play 4-3 end.
Yeah,
because that's kind of what he did. But like to me, it wasn't. I wanted a Rakpo in that draft, by the way, and he went to Washington. A couple picks later,
I wanted Eric Wood. We got him later, so I was fine.
I wanted a Rakpo so badly, and I was so ticked when we didn't take him. Okay, so Washington, Jesus, no, right?
I'm not giving up that many picks.
All right,
I would rather just package a 5th and a 6th for a 4th.
Terrence Marshall just plummeting down the draft board.
I mean, we can move up 4 spots for a 7th rounder. I don't know. We want to do that.
Who's on the board?
Yeah, that's the only thing. Who's on the board? That would be the only reason I would do that.
Baltimore, Cleveland, New Orleans in front of us, and LA, obviously.
Randy, they were forcing Maven to play football.
Rondale Moore is on the board. Ronnie Perkins is on the board. Rousseau.
We already got edge. We've already got edge.
Yeah.
Nixon sticks out to me. Keep scrolling. Rondale, Carlos Basham, Peyton Turner.
Ooh, Javon Holland, Jamar Johnson,
Tommy Tremble.
But we could get these guys without trading up.
Quinn Miniers.
I say we stay put at where we are at 61. I don't think we need to, unless we really want Rondale Moore. That would be the only reason to move up here.
Yeah, I'm not digging. Rondale
what is the comment? Claude says I wanted to.
Brady Christensen would have been interesting for me, but he just went to Seattle. Brady Christensen's really rising up my board.
Randy says no way for Owe. I mean, he's my number 3 edge, but I honestly think there is a chance that the number 1 edge on my board will still be available at 30. Like I think there's a chance that like Quiddy will be there at 30. I really do. You got stay at 61. Look at IDL, trade down if anything. All right, so
Breaker?
let's just
we
get
already took Edge. I was looking at.
let's
like,
just
where
get
they
to
took.
61 then and see what
Mhm.
happens.
Yeah. Perkins, Moore, Nixon.
Stay away, Bobby says.
All right. So
Yeah, I like where Bill's Mafia's head is going here. We're with either Quinn Miniers or Tommy Tremble.
or trade down. We've had a couple people say trade down from here. I like Meniere's here, maybe, or Tremble.
Yeah.
I could get behind either one of those.
Go to wide receiver. See what's available at wide receiver.
Eskridge is there.
Eskridge
He's
would
likely
be-
someone that could be.
Eskridge is someone the Bills would target.
I like Tylen Wallace too. But yeah, Eskridge is a guy that you could connect the dots and say, hey, they went out to that pro day. We have I Love Holland. Got a couple for Holland. We got Quinn or Tremble. I will pay not to get Tremble. Mayfield is Mayfield's not still on the board, is he?
Jalen Mayfield, go to
I don't
tackle.
think so.
Oh, he
Oh,
is.
wow.
give me Jalen Mayfield, people.
People, do we want Jalen Mayfield?
I think
Is
we
Melon
should check
Fonwu-
corner. Yeah, we should check corner real
Melon
quick.
Fonwu on the board. Tyson
wow,
Campbell's on the
it's
board.
No, Melon
Bill-
Fonwu is not on the board.
But-
He's like in the 70s, I believe.
But Tyson Campbell is on the board. So Tyson
Yeah, that
Campbell's
could
an
be
athlete
interesting.
they think they could be grooming. Trill Williams is a guy who played a lot of box, a lot of nickel at Syracuse. The Bills met with Trill Williams as well. So whether it's Jalen Mayfield, it is Tyson Campbell, it is Paulson Adebo. I don't think the Bills would go for Paulson Adebo this early, even with the board.
No.
Yeah.
To me, if I'm thinking like the Buffalo Bills, my thought process here is Tyson Campbell, Jalen Mayfield, Quinn Miners, obviously Tommy Tremble, and Dwayne Eskridge. Those are like the 5 guys that I think the Buffalo Bills would be.
Yeah.
interesting.
We got a couple for Mayfield. I mean,
Yeah,
Mayfield and Holland are the 2 that stand out to me. Meniere's obviously as well.
Well, yeah.
We've got this one, like we've had 3 from Mayfield. Melon Fonwu's not available for those
a couple
asking.
Campbells now.
Some Campbells. Yeah, I do love Paulson, but I was talking to you, Ken. I think I was talking to you, Kendall, about this, but I think that between 61 and 93 is the sweet spot for Paulson. So I think if the Bills do want him, they're likely going to have to take him at 61, which I don't think they're going to do.
Yeah,
I do not like.
I would
falling for us either, by the way.
No. So we got Mayfield or Holland from Wyatt 12. We've got Quinn. Randy says what kickers are available, so he's trolling us now. Yeah, I mean, Melifon was not available, so
I wish.
Can't take him. All right, so I think Mayfield seems to be kind of the consensus. I mean,
think
if
so
you want to
too.
call it that, there's been a couple people that have mentioned Mayfield. So I think that's,
Okay with it?
I mean, that's probably what we're going to go with. You guys okay with that?
Mayfield.
Yeah.
All right.
So this is another one of these high ceiling drafts because this is some boomer bust.
Yeah.
We want to move up in round 3. Anyone tickle our fancy here?
Well, I mean, we still have to get Shelvin for Ombre Lob, so we gotta either stick at 3 or get into 4.
Yeah, we definitely have to get Shelvin for him because he paid for it. I say we stay, we let it ride, and we take Shelvin at 93.
Yeah. You
Thoughts?
might get Shelvin later too.
Yeah, I think we should check where Shelvin is relative to the big board when we're at 93 and then potentially trade up. But yeah, let's see what happens when we get to 93.
All right. My God, stop calling me. Every pick.
Your ears too.
Yeah, can you guys hear that or no?
No, thankfully, no. I'm so sorry for you though.
Oh my God.
Okay, I think we made it through. Oh my God, that was like literally 15 trade offers coming
You're gonna
in.
have to take Shelvin here, by the way.
Yeah. I'll take him. I'll take him. Don't worry. I'm taking him.
Yeah.
We're just gonna move on from that. And we're
Ray
taking
Lob
him.
better still be in this chat right now.
He better still be in here. There he is.
Yeah,
He's
there
in.
we go.
You're welcome.
I mean,
I think
Aleem McNeil for you and Aaron.
he's so happy. He must not have liked my tweet the other day where I didn't take a dig at Shelvin, but I was like, Aleem McNeil's the better player.
Yeah.
Trill wins right now for sure.
Yeah, Trill just got off the board.
We still haven't taken a corner, by the way. We should probably look into that.
Oh, you know our guy Darren Hall is going to be there.
Ooh, Richard LeCount is still available. I'd be very tempted to take him here or Ambry.
Yeah,
Steve,
I do.
your guy.
Go to
I
corner.
prefer Ambry.
Corner.
Yeah, I'd take Ambry here.
Take Ambry. This is for sure the ceiling draft.
What do we want? What do we want? Comment section.
Yeah, chat's got one for Lenoir.
I'm a big fan. I'm a big fan of Ambry Thomas. I have a second round grade on Ambry, but
just to quickly answer, no, Andrew, I didn't. I had some other stuff going on today. I was creating some graphics for our draft show, so I'm gonna do a mock draft tomorrow instead of mock draft Monday. It'll be mock draft Tuesday.
Is Shy Guy there in the draft board? Let's go to wide receiver real quick.
He is,
Oh,
and it's a good spot for him.
It is. I don't think he'd be there by our next pick.
I mean, do people want Shy? I mean, we know Randy does. Ambry, Shy Smith, Ambry sticks out.
We gotta go
Shy.
At this point.
Yeah, we got a couple for Shy as well. So I think people are okay with that. Looks like.
And then we'll see the
rest. Oh, Omble Rob might have to relieve himself after this draft when we take Shy here. So we'll go with it.
We've convinced the people of Shy Smith.
Now I think we gotta take like Darren Hall with his next pick, right? Like we gotta take Darren Hall. Gotta go get our corner.
Yeah,
probably.
Ooh,
or we
Thomas
could go
Graham.
with Bryce Thompson.
Darren Hall's way down there. I don't
why
understand.
Is he all the way down there?
He's way down there, but that's not gonna happen. Like Darren.
Yeah, I mean Thomas Graham, I liked. He was on my not to give it away, but teaser. He may or may not be on my all value list for corner.
It sounds like he isn't.
I said to you guys Bryce Thompson was going to be on my all value list, but he didn't make the cut for me. I still love him.
Richard Wow,
but
such a great name.
Yeah, it is. All right, what do the people think? I'm going back to all here. My guy Caden Stearns is there.
In the comment section, you want Darren Hall.
Stearns, Lenore, Graham. Play Rob needs a towel. That's funny. Graham or Shaker Brown. Lenore is on Bill's radar. Yep, that was reported by Steve first.
People.
Graham. It seems like people want a defensive back based on just.
I see some. We got 2 for Stearns.
No, I think it's the same guy. Oh no, Ombre Robson, Caden Stearns.
Hall is that dude.
Hall is that dude. I mean, like this, there's no consensus. I'll say that there is no consensus here. We got 2 for Graham. We've got a couple for Lenore. We got a couple for Stearns.
Hold up. No one do anything. I have an idea. Stick with me real quick here. Stick with me real quick.
This is a great draft, by the way. I mean, I'm not wild about OA, but if the rest of the draft shook out like this, I'd be totally fine with it.
I hate this draft. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Unbelievable. Some host, no confidence in the chat. Come on. This is a great draft.
But you're also the guy who put out a mock draft, a trolling mock draft, just to get people to dislike it.
As the raging narcissist that I am, I don't get to make all the picks. I'd have to be a GM or nothing. Like I couldn't be a part of a front office. I'd be a terrible GM. I have a feeling
you'd be Jerry Jones is what you would be. You'd be the owner and the GM. That's what you would be.
All I'm saying is I have a feeling like there's going to be a tiebreaker coming in here. Any chance now? Yep. Oh, there it is. Look at that. Would you look at that?
Unbelievable. He's stuffing the ballot.
I feel like
you realize, oh my god, that is
Stearns. Take Caden Stearns and then take Hall in the next round.
That's what I was gonna say, but you were on your own prerogative there for a little bit. I couldn't steer you off the rails.
And then take Darren Hall in the next one.
Yeah, I agree. That's what I would.
There were a few people that said Stearns. I think so.
There were like 3. I think.
I wonder if that's because they heard me talk about him or if they just like him. Either way, I'm happy.
Stop the count.
Stop the count. Oh man.
All
right.
Amador is still there too. Jake Lenoir and then take Darren Hall. Let's get all freaky deaky on this thing.
It's a lot of
Oh,
DBs.
do it. Let's screw it. Do it.
But we're supposed to be listening to the comments section. Unless you want to pay up again. All right.
Let's look around.
Let's see what the people want. Yeah, I love Stearns. Everyone knows.
Stearns could play nickel. He could develop into that.
Tommy O'Doyle rules.
But
we
we
got
already
Mayfield
have a
already
tackle.
though.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, derp.
Bill's Mafia STF says Lenore than Hall. Is that your burner, Steve?
No, I wish. Mafia STF, hook me up. We're best friends now. Like, hit me up later. We're best friends.
We got another for Lenore. We've got 2 for Lenore. And that's all I'm seeing.
Say,
Up third for Lenore. Ryan Sullivan saying Avery Williams, which I like as well.
I was gonna say there's this one thing about Hall that I'm a little worried about is I don't know, he's not the greatest in press man, and I don't know if we want to get someone that we're envisioning on using in the nickel to stay in off coverage. I feel like if you're in nickel, you need to be physical with whoever.
Dude.
Exactly. So if we're getting Darren Hall, I think we're getting him primarily to be a safety or primarily to be a boundary corner.
I've changed my mind. We're taking Lenore, and also the comment section is also going.
Lenore, and Randy. Just because you say Ernest Jones 10 times, it doesn't count as 10 votes. It only counts as 1. So we will take.
Ballot will always win.
We'll take Lenore here. Are you starting to like this draft more, Steve? Now or no?
I don't hate it. It's just not mine. You know.
I know.
Take some ownership over it. It's on your show.
It's like watching someone else impregnate your wife. You know. It's just.
Oh God.
You raise it as if it's your own, but
yeah, Randy. He did say you said spam the chat, but we were also going with majority. So, there was 1 vote for Ernest Jones, and that was from you.
You can spam Ernest Jones into the chat, but it's only going to be counted once.
Oh, Ombre Rob, he's coming. He chose violence tonight.
Yeah, we don't disagree. We love both players though.
We do love them both. I mean, Shelvin was on Steve's no matter what list back in February. So I will say Steve was one of the first to the party there.
All right, let's. The comment section is out of control right now. Go to the big board and see who's left. Like of all.
Oh my god.
What quarterbacks are left? Let's get real frisky.
Demetric Felton's still there.
Smith Marset.
Yeah, I am not. Bobby loves Felton, I think. I don't like him. I don't know why. I'm not a Felton fan. Anyway.
What position what position are we missing?
We could use
interior offensive lineman. It depends how you feel about Mayfield though.
What else? Tight end. What's left at tight end?
My guy Farrell.
Yeah, Farrell's there.
Who's left at running back?
My guy
Maribel's there.
Garrett Patterson.
Nope.
I feel like we shouldn't take a running back. Like
a linebacker, maybe. McDuffie is available. That would be pretty sweet. McDuffie, I like him.
I like McDuffie. Grant Stewart is someone that people like. I don't know why they do, but they do.
Big effort guy.
He tries.
We could double up on edge with like a bigger type of edge. We could go with my guy Taron Jackson here as like a bigger edge to go with.
Jones even, at this point, go to back to linebacker. Is Ernest Jones even there?
Nope.
Yeah, Randy, Ernest Jones is gone, bro. Where did Ernest Jones even go?
Let's see. No, that's not what I should have done.
But he went somewhere.
Get a little control F going. Yeah, there you go.
Ooh. Go 8 to the Bears.
Go 8.
Control F working for me.
All right. Got Jason away, which is why.
What is the comment section saying? I like McDuffie here personally, but
Patterson. We've got Patterson. It's the same person. We've got Rumpf, Kuntz, Avery Williams, breast milk.
I mean, Avery Williams would kind of really round out the defensive
think so
backfield.
too.
We
It
got
would be so perfect.
Stearns, we got Lenore. You could get the nickel and Williams with the return ability. Yeah, Taron Jackson. Claude says I like Taron Jackson
Kane, I
personally.
What
Kando, yeah.
look what quarterbacks are left. Let's get Buck Wild here. Yeah, no. Thanks, baby.
I feel like there's no way he's still on the board.
I like Anthony Brown, by the way, from former BC Boston College guy. We've gotten like 4 picks for Avery Williams now, so
Is that what we're going with?
He would be my pick. You just nailed it on the head tilt. He would round out this DB haul perfectly.
All right.
Oh, was Darren Hall taken? Is what someone Darren Hall?
Yeah.
No, he wasn't. He's a safety, bro.
Oh, sorry.
True.
I was looking. No, he's still there.
You're welcome. Lamont Wade, I think. Look, I'm looking at Lamont Wade as well.
Brady Breeze.
Sherwood,
another Oregon defensive back. We already got a safety though. I don't know about Brady Breeze as a fit.
I mean, Sherwood would be interesting because he's a different kind of safety than Stearns.
I don't think Sherwood's there though. I think.
Yeah, he probably wouldn't be there in real life. I think
he's legitimately gone. Is he at the top of the safety board?
I will look. I don't think he's there.
Yeah, no, it's Nick Pickett. I like Nick Pickett. Oh no, not Nick Pickett. Who's the other guy? Brady Breeze is the one I like more.
Yeah.
Hey, Buffalo Wakes has a Fatu Melon following here. You guys
I mean, we could hit the rewind button.
Here, I can. You want? I can do a little preview of what's to come here.
Put us up.
Let me.
Take Avery Williams.
I can do a little preview. Let me. Yeah. All right. So there's Williams. I will do a little preview here. What's to come? For those interested, I'm putting together some graphics like this for the show, the draft show. So I'm going to be doing some stuff like this for a bunch of the players the Bills are interested in. So nothing too fancy, but a little graphic for the iffy fan at the end there. Anyway,
I like Randy coming in saying, "Is Jonas Jennings available?" Everyone just start naming out your favorite random Buffalo Bill.
Oh my God. Random Buffalo Bill. Random. Like Jabari Greer. He was kind of cool. I liked him.
Mark Campbell.
Oh my God.
Derek
Tim Ewis.
Never heard of that name in my life.
What? Old Timmy Ewis. He was
Ryan Neufeld.
We're just naming tight ends now. Roscoe Parrish.
I know. Roscoe Parrish. Co Simpson,
was
I liked. South Carolina, baby. I liked Co Simpson when we drafted him. I think was that the same draft we drafted Yabooty? Was Co Simpson?
Keith Ellison, Dante Whitner, Ashton
Doran Dickerson.
Now we're just naming tight ends, people. Carlos Williams.
Leif Larson.
There we go. Scott Chandler, aka Tony Poljon.
Hey, we mentioned 2 guys the other night, Sam Aiken and Marcus Easley. A couple of randos. All right. Cheers. Coy Wire, nice one.
Coy Wire, that's a good one.
Brian Scott was like the Coy Wire.
He's black Coy Wire.
Yeah. Ashton Yabody, yeah. Ryan Solomon just mentioned him. Sam Cowart, now that's not a random. He's the man. Sam Cowart was the man. Keith Ellison was like the weak side linebacker that would never go away.
Who is that corner that everyone hated? Justin Rogers.
Yep.
Fuck Justin Rogers.
Don't get. That's a good. Don't
get me started on TJ Graham. NC State over here. I could have told you he had stone hands from the second anyone talked about him. He was terrible.
TJ Graham, Russell Wilson. TJ Graham, Russell Wilson.
Yeah, TJ Graham looked good when Russell Wilson was throwing him the ball. The problem was that didn't happen his senior year because Russell Wilson was in Wisconsin. So for 3 years before that, sure, when
Reggie Bush, Chris Watson, the punt catcher, Bobby Shaw. You
know who I really liked, who was underappreciated? I think Josh Reed, the receiver. I always liked him.
Oh, so underappreciated.
You didn't like him? You didn't like him, Steve? He did suck, but he's just stuck around for a long time.
Robert Woods reminded me of like a Reed 2.0.
What the?
But better. But better.
2.0.
Better. better.
I'm saying Woods is
Reed-
better than Reed. I'm not
Reed
saying
was a slot guy. Woods,
Oh,
Woods can play slot, I guess.
Woods can play slot, and he has the same kind of effort level, blocking, all that. I don't know. They remind me.
Oh, Steve, there's your guy, George Wilson.
George Wilson.
George Wilson jersey right here.
Love George Wilson.
All right, well,
Justin Hunter.
Justin Hunter was a guy that like should have done more in the NFL with his physical skill, physical attributes.
This can't be real.
Tim Tyndale.
This can't be real,
I
right?
don't know.
Is that a character from like the movie
looking
where
it up.
like, we went to the Super Bowl? Lionel Gates. Who is that other running back? Not Lionel Gates. Who is that running back with the really weird name who ended up going to Detroit? He blew it up in the preseason here. Everyone was mad when we cut him. Who is that guy? That running back. He went to Detroit.
Not Shad Williams. That's from before. I don't know, man.
Who is that running back? People, come on. I know you know it in the comment section. Who is that running back? He blew it up in the preseason. Everybody loved him. Chan Gailey was a fucking asshole and cut him, and he went to Detroit. He ended up like being a good player.
Dwayne something.
Not Dwayne
right?
Not Dwayne
Not
Wright.
Dwayne Wright? Okay.
I had such high hopes for Dwayne Wright.
Joik Bell?
Yes, there we go. Joik Bell.
We had Joik Bell.
Yes, we did.
Oh my god.
He blew it up one of those.
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember I
did.
named my fantasy team one year the Joik Store called off after the Seinfeld reference.
He missed a whole bunch. Des Lewis, Eric King, Thad Lewis, Rick Rogers, Chris Kelsey, Frank the Tank Summers.
Well, if you're going to talk about that, talk about random defensive linemen. How about Ryan Denny? Caught that fake punt touchdown from Brian Moorman. Remember that against the Seahawks?
That's another good one. Cole
Barry
Beasley.
Sanders. Ryan Thiel says Barry Sanders. This show is off the rails. It is really off the rails.
Who is that? Jason Gilden, I think, was a Bill for like a week and a half. Who is the other guard from Pittsburgh who was like an all-pro, but randomly like signed off the streets and started one game in Toronto and just sucked? Guard from Pittsburgh.
Like
Marcus
Pittsburgh, the
Stroud.
college, or
No, Pittsburgh Steelers. Marcus Stroud. Sean Merriman.
I was so hyped when we got Marcus Stroud. I thought like that we were going to turn the corner with him.
That is a name drop right there.
Remember him and who was Stroud's teammate in Jacksonville when they were so nasty on that defensive line? Henderson or something?
John Henderson, yeah.
Yeah,
Derek
John Henderson.
Wasn't Derek Dockery. Eric Pears. Fuck Eric Pears.
No, Dockery, we paid money to be that starting guard. It was like we paid Dockery.
Larry
What?
Tripp.
Larry Tripp. No, remember that line? We had like Dockery. We had
we paid Derek Dockery.
Langston Walker. Langston Walker was the right tackle.
We paid, I think it was all the same offseason. I also could be wrong. I think we in the same offseason we paid Robert Royal, Derek Dockery, and Larry Triplett.
And who was the center? It was the smaller dude that we had. Kavika Mitchell. Oh, Randy says Kavika Mitchell. I was so excited when we signed him too, because they had just won the Super Bowl. The Giants had just won the Super Bowl, and Kavika Mitchell destroyed us in that blizzard game that year. The Giants beat the Pats when they were 18-0. If you remember the end of that season, that was like that game we played the Giants, and Ahmad Bradshaw ran all over us in the snow in Buffalo. I was so happy when we got Kavika Mitchell, and then just wasn't good.
Got
Jeff
another
Vanguard.
one. Kiko Alonso. People forget.
How about Paz? I have his jersey upstairs. I was so happy when we got him too.
It's tough to forget him. He was the run stuffer for years.
That draft I was so like excited about because we got Marshawn, we got Paz, we got Trent Edwards. I was like, man, this team could be good.
Promising.
I think, was that the same draft as Kyle Williams too? That might have been. That might have been. Whitner. Whitner was out of left field. That was a Marv Levy GM pick in the Duran era when we took Whitner, I think number 8 overall or something like that.
I loved that pick when we made it. Didn't pan out exactly how I hoped, but he was decent. He was decent as a Bill. Should have been better for an 8th.
Angelo Crowell. I like that one.
Oh, I liked Angelo Crowell. He played special teams for so long behind Takeo and London Fletcher. He never got on the field, and then when they left, he kind of got
Kendall
to play.
Simmons.
Great
It took
name.
me forever to figure that out. He
Nice.
started
Got a
like
great
one
name.
game for the Bills. I swear, Kendall Simmons. I'm actually gonna double check to make sure that's accurate.
Oh, Bills Mafia STF says, I
Yep.
love Naaman Roosevelt. Well, we interviewed Naaman Roosevelt last season. So if you check out the interview we did with him,
But yeah,
it's
Kendall
on the
Simmons,
BF channel.
Adolphus. I had so much hope for not Adolphus Washington. Who was the
I
other
did.
guy? Not Adolphus Washington. Who was that other defensive end who went to the Rams? I had so much hope for that dude. I love
From
that
Ohio
dude.
State also, or
No. He was similar skill set. Like he was like a smaller DT. He ended up going to the edge. He went to the Rams. We drafted him relatively high. Maybe not relatively high, but middle rounds. Who was that guy?
Went to the Rams.
I don't know.
Yeah, I'm blanking.
Come on. He was a third round pick. Just like
He's a third
Adolphus.
round pick.
Cartwright.
It's ringing a bell.
Carrington. Alex Carrington.
Alex Carrington.
Dude,
he was
I
a
remember
seventh
him.
rounder, I think.
Was
Wasn't
he?
he seventh round?
Yeah, he was late.
Yeah.
I think so.
No, he wasn't. He was a
I'm
third
pretty
round
sure.
pick.
All right.
Do you guys remember Terrence Pennington? Do you remember Terrence? Speaking of seventh round picks, remember Terrence Pennington?
I do.
Started one season.
Yeah, you're
at
right about
tackle and then-
Carrington. He was a third round pick.
round,
Yeah,
2010.
thank you. So Terrence Pennington started like 1 year for the Buffalo Bills, played well, and then fell off the face of the fucking earth. Whatever happened to Terrence Pennington?
I don't know. What was the other dude? Duke Preston. Another one.
Still, you had the Marshawn Lynch draft, right? It was Lynch, Beasley, and
Williams
Edwards.
was fifth round, right?
Williams was not in that one.
Oh, he wasn't
was
in that
the
one.
year
Okay.
before with Whitner, McCargo.
That's
Poe
right. That's
Simpson,
right.
Williams,
He was with the Whitner.
and
Whitner
Pennington
one.
was in that one.
Who was the other defense? Ron Edwards was a good defensive tackle for us. Corey Moore.
I really liked that. I really thought that Marshawn Paz Edwards draft was going to be a good. I mean, it was for like a year or two. But I will tell you what. I was really upset in that draft too. We talk about how I wanted Arakpo over Mabin, and we had the chance to take Arakpo in that one draft. But in that draft that we took Marshawn, I really wanted Patrick Willis, and he went one pick before us to the Niners.
Sean Nelson, Chris Gregg.
What about David Nelson?
Johnny White, Mike Jasper. Remember Levi Brown?
Oh,
yes.
Yeah.
Ed Wang.
Yeah, we had some high hopes for Wang.
Gary Harris and Ellis Langster. Man, so many.
What about the false sense of hope from the 2004 draft, getting Lee Evans and JP Lossman in the first round and thinking that their deep ball game was going to lead us to the playoffs?
But Lee Evans was good. That's the problem.
He was a beast.
I really liked Alvin Bowen. John Wendling.
You're throwing so many names.
John Wendling from Wyoming, who had that jump onto like the block from like 60 inches or something.
That was the CJ Ayu draft too.
Oh my God, CJ.
Brad Butler, he was good.
Yeah, Brad Butler he started a lot of games for us.
Like a senator now or something.
He was the one that had that weird injury, right, and like retired
he
or something like that.
Peerless Price.
Tim Anderson.
Oh God, Peerless Price. Peerless Price, I believe, was he not the same draft that we drafted Travis Henry?
No,
Travis?
So that was a few years later. I was just looking at that. That was a really nice top 3 picks. They went Nate Clements in 2001, first round, then Aaron Schobel in the second, and Travis Henry later in the second.
That's legit. Yeah,
that's a nice top.
How about when the Bills got a first from Atlanta for Peerless Price in that trade, and then used that pick to draft. I think it was that's how they had the 2 picks with Lossman and
Sammy Morris.
Names keep reminding me of other names. Copeland Bryan, yes, but who was that other defensive tackle we had? Like, I feel like we got rid of him in the Rex Ryan years, but he was really good in the Jim Schwartz defense. Who was that defensive tackle? Very much just like a. Who was it? Damn it! God,
I'll go back and look at.
Just turned into reminiscing hour.
Let's go back to the 2016
Brandon
Bills roster.
Spoon.
That who you were thinking of?
No,
so many of these names sound fake. Like at least 50% of these sound fake.
Oh, Bryant, Cornell Bryant. Anyone remember? Ringing a bell for anyone? Bryant?
No.
No.
I'm not making this up, I swear.
I'm looking at. Let's see. Oh man, Brandon Spikes was nice for a bit. Man, I feel bad for Aaron Williams. Like there were some good players on that
Oh my god.
on that team.
I
Corbin
love Aaron
Bryant, I think,
Williams.
is who you're thinking of.
Corbin
Steve.
Bryant, thank you. I knew
Corbin
there was
Bryant.
someone. All right, let's play a game called Bills draft pick or not a Bills draft pick. Hold up.
I got
have
some
to-
important stuff I need to do. So
Hold up. Let me give you like 3 names and we'll play a game called Bills draft pick or not a Bills draft pick. All right. Hold up. There was one that I really wanted to share with you guys. All right. Where'd he go? All right. Xavier Oman.
Xavier, I don't recognize the name, but I'm guessing he probably was a Bills draft pick.
Yeah, running back. Kennard Cox.
No.
He was 7th round.
Well, if you're just
Aaron-
naming Bills players, I'm gonna say yes, they were Bills
Well, I was
draft
trying to
pick.
think of someone who wasn't.
Yeah, I was about to guess no with this next one,
all right.
regardless.
Okay. All right. Camille Loud.
No.
He was a Buffalo Bills draft pick in 1998.
Oh, okay. I mean, I was freaking like 12 years old, but
That
okay.
was
Sheldon Jack. What I remember the most about Sheldon Jackson was that when he like retired from the Bills, he started working at the gas station across the street.
Big oof.
Bobby Collins. Remember Bobby Collins? So much hope for that man. Dan Brandenburg. That's a great name.
Demetrius
These are
Bell.
all
That's a
fake
good
names.
one. Demetrius Bell had some potential. He was a definition of a project right there with some potential.
AJ Ophido pedophile. I don't know what this guy's name is. The tight end drafted in 94. That's an unfortunate name.
Oh, man.
Sebastian Savage. How did that guy not work out?
Drew
Arthur
Haddad. How did that
Motes.
not work out?
Forgot
Ooh,
about
Arthur Motes. I like
Corbin Lucina. That sounds like a professional wrestler.
Who was the other linebacker we drafted in that Arthur Motes draft? Was that that wasn't the Nigel Bradham draft, was it?
No, there wasn't anyone. There wasn't another one in that. The
There wasn't? Okay.
year after was Kelvin Shepard and Chris White.
Oh, awful.
Yeah.
Don Beebe
I can't
was
believe
our
we got stuff for Kelvin Shepard.
Don Beebe was our first pick in 1989 in the 3rd round. We didn't have a first or second rounder.
Wow. Well,
yeah, that's got to be it. We're off the rails. We're just
we're done.
spitting names.
we're done. We're done.
Chris White. I remember Tashard Choice. Olandis Gary.
Oh, Tashard Choice.
We
I
just
remember
got
him
him going again.
Tashard Choice from Georgia Tech. He was good at Georgia Tech, man. Go watch some of his. I mean,
nice one.
Yeah.
Prospect Watcher.
Yeah, that's true. That was one of the best trades in Bills history.
I think Calvin Shepard is a coach now.
Good for him.
And Jerry Hughes is still playing.
Yeah.
Hombre Lob says we
He's sticking around.
That's a good way to end it.
Joe Burns. Oh, man. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's been a pleasure. I have no idea how we're not down to 15 viewers at this point, but
we might be our next show. There might not be as many tune in.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, until next time, Ryan Teal, please smash that like on your way out if you haven't already. It really, really, really helps us out with like something called algorithm. I don't know. Big words that only Dave knows. So until next time, ladies and gentlemen, go Bills.
Go Bills.
Go Bills.